afternoon, everybody, and welcome to northeastern France. It's the final round of the FIM Motocross World Championship. We are at the MXGP of Pays de Montbeliard at the circuit of Villars-sous-Écot. Had a relatively short history here, has this venue. The first time we came here was back in 1982. André Malherbe from Belgium was victorious that day on a 500cc Honda. Jackie Vimon was the first French winner here, 1986, when he was en route to his 250cc world title. He was riding Yamahas back then. And then the third time we came here was Stefan Everts from Belgium, who was victorious in the 250 class on a Honda. When we came here back in 2014, that was, sorry, in 2015, that was the fourth time we came here. And it was Jeffrey Hurlings, who was victorious in MX2, and Romain Fevre in MXGP, who will add their name to that short list today. Of course, don't forget, for this final round of FIM MX2 World Motocross Championship, we will see a world champion crowned. Now, if you've been following us on MXGPTV.com for our broadcast online for the women and the European 250s, you'll know that we had a lot of rain yesterday from about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Circuit conditions are pretty sticky out there. They have been working on the track in one or two problematic areas. You see there, just this side of the city jump, round towards the final turn, bottom right of your screen, or top right of your screen, just past the easy ups. That is the run towards the final turn. And of course, over on the bottom end of the circuit as well, turn 6, the bottom of the Monster Energy hill. And it'll be interesting to see how the MX2 riders deal with it. But before we go anywhere, though, let's take a look at the circuit here at Villars-sous-Écot in a little bit more detail. Here's a look at our GoPro track preview. This was filmed yesterday, and we were on board with Valentin Guillot on the Isomotor Honda and Hunter Lawrence. Red motor, Isomotor Honda of 92, Valentin Guillot from Switzerland, just over the border, and Hunter Lawrence, Suzuki Wild MX2, take it to a spin. It's a downhill start straight into a 180 right, passing the foxhole shot sign about midway through the turn, then immediately down the next straight, past pit lane. Conditions were almost perfect yesterday. Downhill through turn 2, over 2 singles, and then into this kind of floater type of jump, about third gear through there, and then through this turn 3 that takes the riders uphill over the first of the plateaus, a step-up jump, and then continuing uphill, the first climb around this impressive Villars-sous-Écot circuit. You go to the inside here, you can double through or sweep around the outside. The next straight has a series of step-ups, step-downs, and short little tabletops. That's the final one at the end of the straight. We turn right through turn 5, down the impressively steep and long Monster Energy downhill. Through the 180 right, turn 6. This has had some work on it now, ahead of MX2 race 1. Uphill through the small little double jump, and then the Tag Heuer hip jump, that slows things down a little bit. Then we have this nice step down, back onto the plateau, just one tier below the highest point on the racetrack. Go to the inside over the little single, or around the outside. You have the Monster Energy tabletop, taking the riders back downhill. Fans will fill that part of the circuit down there. Into this left, one of the slowest points on the circuit. Over a city step-up. Riders really having to work hard just to get over that. Another slow corner on the racetrack is this tight right. Dropping downhill into this short little tabletop jump through this right-hander into a series of waves. 1, 2, about 7 or 8 waves through there on the back wheel. Then we hit the Ippon jump, the tabletop that leads into the final turn. Again, it's very sticky through there at the moment. They have worked their hardest to clear a lot of the ruts out of there. The run up to the Monster Energy finish line jump. The riders double their way onto that plateau. You see the start to the left, they turn right and charge back down the start straight for another lap of Villars. Well, we've had intermittent rain throughout the course of the day. A few moments ago, Lisa Leyland was down on the grid. She caught up with Team HRC MX2's Jed Beaton from Australia, who was impressive in qualifying yesterday, and the HSF Logistics Motorsport KTM rider, David Puches.
Hello and welcome to the start of the first MX2 race of the day. Now I know a lot of the guys are expecting a pretty tough race up next, so we'll just speak to them and see how they're feeling. First guy I want to speak to is HSF Logistics, David Puches. David, a great result yesterday for you inside the top 5. Just tell us how it went.
Yeah, yesterday was good. I think good start. I was 6th and I passed the 5th guy and finished 5th, so I was really happy with that, and hopefully we can do the same now in the first moto.
But difficult conditions out there today, though. Totally different to yesterday.
Yeah, it's really wet now, but I think if I stay on the bike, I can do the same. So hopefully there's a bit of luck on my side in the moto, and then it should be fine.
Have a good one, thank you. Next rider I want to speak to is just here. It's Jed Beaton, who was a last-minute fill-in at HSC. Jed, I know you're filling in for Michaeli Chervelin, who's got a groin strain. But just tell us firstly about yesterday in qualifying. Your best result, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's my best result, and it didn't really go to plan. I got a good start for once and went down first turn, and it made it a bit difficult, but I tried to make as many passes as I could in the first lap, and ended up coming around and it said P11. I was pretty surprised, and then just started making moves down the back hill and saw that I was catching everyone, so it gave me momentum for the whole race, and ended up 4th, so I'm happy with that.
Now, you've been out here in Europe for about a year now. Have you enjoyed your time with us?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Every round I come to, I'm learning everything, and yeah, I hope to stay here for next year and see if I can get something sorted.
Okay, well, best of luck. Thank you, Jed Beaton there. Good luck to all the guys. It's time for MX2 Race 1.
You can see some of the parts of the racetrack. This is just in front of the Tag Heuer hip jump there, but coming into the championship there, in the MX2 title race still to be decided. Jonass on 7:35. He is 41 points clear of Jeremy Seewer. Thomas Kjær-Olsen has secured 3rd in the championship. Benoit Paturel has secured, he hasn't quite secured 4th because Thomas Covington 19 points behind. The Frenchman Paturel is here this weekend. I saw him a little earlier on in the day. He is walking around after a 10-day stint in hospital after crashing here, training before he went to the USA. He lacerated his liver, which is quite a serious injury, but good to see the Khmer Yamaha rider up and about here just to watch. It's frustrating, he said, watching this race, though. But in terms of the MX2 World Championship, Jonass, with 41 points, needs 9 points. That's a 12th place finish or 2 16th place finishes, something like that, to be secured at the championship if Jeremy Seewer wins race 1. And so all of a sudden, you know, that gives you a quick feel as to how this MX2 title race could pan out. But before we go anywhere, though, see the riders down there on the grid. Here's how they went yesterday in the MX2 qualifying race. Track conditions completely different, as you will see. The gate dropped, and it was Hunter Lawrence from way over on the left-hand side who swept across everybody. Anton Goal here on board with our GoPro. It was wet after intermittent rainfall yesterday from about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but Hunter Lawrence was the clearest of them all. Jonass was right there behind him in 2nd. And just behind them was the HSF Logistics machines of Brian Bogus. Then Jonass just getting pushed back to 3rd. Jeremy Seewer in 4th place, who we're on board with here. They headed uphill for the first time. Seewer got himself into 3rd before getting roosted. And he gave chase to the 41, his main title rival, as Hunter Lawrence looked very assured. Zach Pichon was the 3rd Suzuki rider in shot there, the 101. Conrad Muse wasn't so fortunate. He fell and eventually came home in 19th place on what was a difficult circuit indeed. Well, I thought yesterday was bad. Today might be a bit of a shock to the system. Of course, Jonass legged his way through turn 2, but couldn't prevent Jeremy Seewer going through into 2nd position. That was as early as lap 2. And then it was Julian Lieber's turn to taste the Villars-Sous-Écho dirt here. The LRT KTM rider picked himself up in 10th, got on the charge and did it all again. Jonass ran alongside Siwa as they still continue to battle over second. Synchronized jumping there, but Siwa was massively short, lost about 2 bike lengths to the Red Bull KTM, but the Suzuki World MX2 rider there, 91, was not about to let Jonass out of his sights. Up on the pegs through some of the deepest ruts, but then it went wrong for Siwa. Didn't get the drive, lost his balance, realised he wasn't going to make the hill, did a U-turn. Brian Bogus went through into 3rd place. That was on lap 5. Siwa had to rejoin the race in 4th place. Behind him was a hard-charging Jed Beaton on the HRC MX2 machine. He started outside of the top 15, but gradually worked his way through into a decent position. Up on the hill, Darian Sanai, who was inside the top 5 on the opening lap, fell, damaged his radiator, and then his bike finally expired whilst he was in 16th place. So he will go to the line in 26th place. Jeremy Siwa then fell down to 10th, got himself back to 8th, handing more of an advantage to Paul's Jonass ahead of the race today. Lieber fell again, this time through turn 1. The LRT KTM rider would eventually come home in 9th place behind Siwa and the Khmer Yamaha of Brent van Donnick. Hunter Lorenzo was masterful in the mud. He won by more than 24 seconds to take his first ever pole for Suzuki World MX2. Jonass and Bogus rounded out the top 3. As the riders make their way to the grid, here's how they will go to the line. Hunter Lawrence then, after winning the qualifying race on Saturday, goes to the line first, his first pole. Jonass was 2nd, Bogus 3rd, Jed Beaton 4th, David Puches, Thomas Covington, Brent van Donnick and Jeremy Siwa goes to line 8th ahead of Julian Lieber and Stephen Rubini. Henry Jacobi, a good ride for the STC Husqvarna rider. Jorge Prado, never really impressed, but he might get a good start today and reverse that trend. Thomas Kjær Olsen struggled also in 13th. He was up as high as 8th at one point, but had his share of falls. So too did Zach Pichon, eventually coming home in 14th, ahead of Calvin Verlander, Alvin Austin and Ben Watson. And some gold, Conrad Muse and Manny Klingshine, and the rest as you can see on the screen. There's a side shot of the HRC, the 2018 Honda CRF 250 that Jed Beaton will be riding here today. He'll be hoping to impress like he did yesterday, see if he can get a ride in the MX2 paddock for next year. Hunter Lawrence, bright talent, 9th in the championship. He's 34 points behind Brian Bogus, so he could mathematically still take 8th overall in the standings. But what about Paul's Jonass? How nervous is he? I spoke to him briefly yesterday. He seemed cool and calm. Ben Watson looking like he's firing up his KTM over there in the background, so looks like they've got that fired up. The Hitachi Contract Furniture Group KTM rider. Jeremy Siwa. So this one really down to 2 guys, irrespective of what else happens. Jeremy Siwa looking nice and relaxed. Got a few Swiss fans travelled over the border to be here today. Thomas Covington. It's a difficult qualifying race for him yesterday, but he did work his way out from just inside the top 20 to get to 6th. But no sighting lap for the riders today, so they will be seeing this racetrack blind for the first time. The ruts that you can see as they join over from the left-hand side as we look at it, they're from the EMX 250 race a little earlier on. So my guess is, and I'm just guessing, I would have expected the riders to go all the way out to the left-hand side, the right-hand side as we look at the gate from our camera position down in turn 1, because down the inside it's going to be very heavy, very sticky. So we'll see as we go wider on the shot. But Julian Lieber, 6th place in the championship. He could mathematically pass Covington. Covington just 10 points ahead of him. Covington likewise 19 behind Benoit Patrel, who won't ride here this weekend. But yeah, all the favourites have gone over to the far left-hand side of the gate. So we would expect the Fox Holeshot to come from way over that side of the circuit. Prado has 14 hole shots already, and he's already won it. But the 15-second board is up. Round 19, the final race and the final round of the FIA Motocross World Championship. The MX2 Grand Prix of Pays de Montbéliard here at Villars-sous-Écot is about to get underway. The 5-second board has turned. We're getting ready to go racing. 30 minutes plus 2 laps. The gate drops and everybody away. Look to the right-hand side. Lieber with a good jump on the 33. Jonass, 41, siding his way down the inside of Conrad Muse or Thomas Covington, actually. And it's Jonass with a foxhole shot, and look how much water is on the track as they charge down past pit lane. Oh, Jonass is down! Jonass down at the end of the start straight. Wow, drama here already. And Siwa, and who's that gone down? That's one of the HSF guys. It might have been Bogus or Pooches, actually, we'll see. But it's Covington who leads as they head uphill for the first time. Beaton in second on the red Honda. Siwa is third, and his title rival is buried at turn 2. He may have clipped the rear end of somebody going in there, and he's still down, trying to get that KTM fired up. He does. He knows he's got 29 minutes in which to do something here, not panic. Wow, drama. We've had nothing but drama here at the final round this weekend in all classes. They've cleared away all the ruts here. Remember, these guys are seeing this racetrack for the first time. Did no sighting lap. Uphill, Siwa in second. Beaton is in third. Fourth is was Bogus, but I don't think he's there any longer. But it's Thomas Covington who leads the way, and we know he can ride in the mud. Beaton going long in second, but Siwa up the inside takes the position away from the Australian. Oh, Siwa! How did he stay up there? Beaton just doing his own thing. Siwa almost going down. And he runs Beaton wide this time. Siwa needs to finish ahead of Paul Jonass to keep this title race alive to the final moto. But you can see how difficult conditions are. Thomas Olsen is in fourth on the number 19. Fifth is Brian Bogus. In fact, Hunter Lawrence is up to fifth. They've smoothed out a lot of the ruts on the entry there to the waves. They've done work on this final corner at the bottom here as well, on the run up towards the Montbeliard finish line jump. But we keep an eye on Paul Jonass. It was Davey Pooches who fell coming out of turn 2 on the opening lap. But over the line for the first time, Thomas Covington leads. Jeremy Siwa is in second place. Third, Jed Beaton. Fourth, Thomas Olsen. Fifth will be Hunter Lawrence. As Beaton drops down into turn 1, a little bit squirrely there on that red HRC 2018 Honda. Here's Paul Jonass. It could not have been a worse start for the championship leader. Thomas Olsen, he's fourth, the second rider in shot. There's your race leader, Thomas Covington, the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna rider, leading the way by about 2.5 seconds. He's got Jeremy Siwa just behind him. No one able to get up onto that plateau. So sticky are the conditions here. Beaton is third, Thomas Olsen 4, Lawrence 5, Osland 6, 7, Lieber 8, Bogus 9, Flandre 10, Ben Watson 11, Jacoby 12, Rubini, Michael Mantovani is 13, Mika Voigt-Wall of the Netherlands is 14 for Vamo Racing. Brent Van Donnick 15, Prado 16, Muse, Pichon, Gold and Renken's your top 20 as riders are parked already at the bottom of the hill at the end of that first lap. But Jeremy Siwa closing in on Thomas Covington as they head uphill over on the far side of the circuit. Jonass crossed the line in 25th position. He is still outside of the points at the moment. There is still a long way to go though. Not even going to start doing the calculations. All I will say is that at the start of the day, Paul Jonass had a 41-point advantage over Jeremy Siwa before the gate drop for the first MX2 race. Covington uphill, the American leading the way. He won in the mud in Mexico a couple of years ago. We know he can ride well when it's wet and muddy. And he's doing just that here, but if ever there was a important start, then today was it. Paul Jonass may have crossed the foxhole shot line for a 10th time, but by turn 2, he was down on the deck. And he is now fighting for World Championship points. It does not get any more dramatic than this. That lead that Covington had over Jeremy Siwa a lap ago has been slashed by about 0.4 of a second. Covington a 2:14.6, Siwa 2:14 and all the twos. 2:17 for Thomas Olsen, 7 seconds further back in third. And then Jed Beaton, he has about 7 seconds over Hunter Lawrence in fifth. So the two Aussies, Jed Beaton and Hunter Lawrence in fourth and fifth place respectively. Here is Paul Jonass just going around the outside of the 67 and Magny Klingshine. Klingsheim in 19th, so Jonass taking that place away. So he's in the points now, Paul Jonass. See where he is as he hits the line. One corner to go. He gets forced to the outside there inadvertently. Heading uphill on his Red Bull KTM. Latching on to Ivo Monticelli, the 128 on the Marchetti Racing Team KTM. Jonass in 18th place. And look at that outside line there, working perfectly. And Covington just starting to pull clear of Jeremy Seewer here at the moment. Paul Jonass currently on 7:38. Jeremy Seewer currently on 7:16. That gap is down to 22 points going into race 2, but obviously we are still very early in the race yet. 24 minutes plus 2 to go. Seewer has to be careful not to connect a back marker there as he heads up that very treacherous climb. Man down just on the crest there. Thomas Kjær-Olsen finds his way up. The ground here, very clay-like, so very, very slippery. There's also a lot of rock in the ground. And here's your race leader. Thomas Covington disappears up the hill. There's a back marker there, David Pooches. And this is your second place rider, Jeremy Seewer, for Suzuki World MX2. Continues to go after Covington. Covington at 15, 2:15.0. Seewer now 5 seconds behind the American as this race starts to get warmed up. But here's Paul Jonass going past Prado, so that puts him now up into 16th place as Prado goes off the side of the track. So Covington, 5 seconds clear of Jeremy Seewer. Thomas Kjær-Olsen is third, beaten fourth, and Hunter Lawrence, who was on the podium in the USA a couple of weeks ago, is in fifth. Still plenty of way to go here in the MX2 race 1. Paul Jonass, Red Bull KTM championship leader, drops downhill. Been a nervy start for the Latvian. He pulled a foxhole shot for the 10th time this year. He fell at turn 2. He was right at the back when he got going, handing the advantage to the number 64 Rockstar Energy Husqvarna rider Thomas Covington from the USA. This is your second place rider here, number 91 Jeremy Seewer in yellow, just going past the 131 of Kronkovic. And Seewer doing a great job at the moment of staying ahead of Paul Jonass. David Pooches all over the place there on the HSF Logistics Motorsport KTM. Came into land a little bit awkwardly there. He fell coming out of turn 2 on the opening lap as well. He was also well placed in around about 4th or 5th at that point. But it's Covington who leads. Seewer here is second. Thomas Kjær-Olsen third. The Australian Jed Beaton for Team HRC. Honda is 4th. Hunter Lawrence is in 5th place. Then Julian Lieber, then Alvin Osland, Brian Bogus, Calvin Belandren, and Henry Jacobi. Ben Watson in 11th, ahead of Mika Boyd-Dewar, Conrad Muse. Michael Mantovani is in 14th place, then Jonass, then Ivo Monticelli. But that can all change as they hit the line next time around for the 3rd lap. Over on the far side of the circuit. The rain starting to fall again here in northeastern France, just a stone's throw away from the Swiss border. Riders all over the place. That's Michael Mantovani. He's in 14th position, but here's Paul Jonass. Red Bull KTM Factory Racing can only get on with his race after falling at turn 2. Is that Mantovani? We just saw it a moment ago. No, that's not Jed Beaton. That's more like Mantovani, I think, but he's out of 14th place then. Mantovani, the Italian on the Yamaha, picks himself up. Here's Prado. So Jorge Prado, Red Bull KTM. Is that Darian Sanai? Yes. Sinai, Monster Energy DRT, that's at the top of the Monster Energy downhill. So Darian Sinai, who was in 21st position, falling at the top of the hill. There's Siwa. He goes through in second for Suzuki World MX2. He's about 7 seconds behind Thomas Covington. Rockstar Energy Husqvarna, your race leader in this MX2 first race. Where is Jonass? Jonass up to 12th now. So the title could be decided in MX2 race 1. If Siwa was to win this race, Paul Jonass needs to be 12th or better. That would give him the 9 points. And irrespective of what happens after that, they tie on points. Should there be a second race and something happens to Jonass and all the rest of it long live, they tie on points. It goes on race wins. And at the moment, Jonass has 14, twice as many as Jeremy Siwa. So Siwa knows he has to at least win this race, and Jonass to be 13th or worse for the title chase to go down to moto number 2. The rain seems to have dispersed ever so slightly. Thomas Kjær Olsen through the waves at the end of the straight there, looking like he might be closing in on Jeremy Siwa here. Maybe that's just the way that the camera will have us believe that. So Covington 8.5 seconds clear of Siwa. Next rider on the top of the hill will be Thomas Kjær Olsen. Or was it a back marker? No, back marker, I think. There's Jonass. He's now showing us up to 11th. He's found his way past Ben Watson on the Hitachi Contract Furniture Group KTM. That's him coming towards us now, the young Englishman from Nottinghamshire, in the East Midlands part of the country. We're waiting for Jonass to come through. He's still about a third of a lap through from getting towards the finish line. Up on the pegs, though. Jed Beaton is in 4th place. But Thomas Covington, 8.5 seconds clear. 16 seconds further back is Thomas Kjær Olsen. Beaton just 4 seconds behind Thomas Kjær Olsen, and lapping quicker than the Big Dane as we follow. There's Prado having more problems. So he was in 15th. Struggling to get going. Right, here's 3rd, Thomas Kjær Olsen, and just behind him in red is Jed Beaton, the Australian, for Team HRC MX2, almost going off the side of the bike there. And which Suzuki rider was that behind him trying to get himself back on the track? Was that Pichon? I think it might have been. Nothing in it, though, between 3rd and 4th. Here is your 4th place rider, Jed Beaton, looking for a ride next year in MX2. He's enjoyed his time immensely here in Europe. Normally riding for Carglass Honda, of course. Started the year as an EMX 250 rider, got the call to ride a couple of wildcard rounds later on in the season, Jed Beaton. But they, of course, were in Czech Republic and Belgium. He was 12th overall in Belgium, 13th last week in Assen. And here he is in 4th place at the moment in this first MX2 race. Lead rider in this group of 4 is Thomas Kjær Olsen. He's in 3rd, number 19. And Jed Beaton here, just behind the back marker, Anton Goll, who is in 16th place at the moment on that factory TM. So we've got battles all over the racetrack here. Thomas Kjær Olsen can't afford to switch off. He will lose that 3rd place to the Aussie. Jed Beaton. Where is Hunter Lawrence? Well, Prado having more problems. I think that's the 2nd time he's been off the same part of the racetrack. Riding along that ridge, trying to rejoin in a safe and convenient manner. 3 seconds in it between Thomas Kjær Olsen and Beaton, but that's not 3 seconds anymore. You see them right there, locked together, about a second apart as they charge through turn 1 and down into turn 2. Covington, meanwhile, a 2:22 lap time for him that time around. Sees him 12 seconds clear of Jeremy Siwa. They're 15 seconds clear of this battle for 3rd between Thomas Kjær Olsen on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna and the HRC Honda of Jed Beaton. But it's this guy here, 64, Thomas Covington, who leads the way on his Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. He's already had 4 race wins this year. Looking to make it 5. He knew a good start was necessary. He is, of course, going to be riding the Monster Energy FIM Motocross of Nations. Prado just to the left there, look. anxious moments as Rubini does his best to avoid making contact there. His bike facing the opposite direction as Covington came through. So Thomas Covington, one of the members for Team USA at the upcoming Monster Energy FIM Motocross Nations presented by Finn Professional in 2 weeks' time, alongside Zach Osborne, who's here in Europe this week, and so too Cole Seeley, the third member of that team. There's Jonass. He is now in 10th place. And as it stands at the moment, he could be crowned world champion with 14 minutes to go, but you see the conditions, you see the bikes strewn all over the place, riders struggling to get to grips with this Villars-sous-Écot circuit here in France. The MXGP have paid the MONTBELIARD. There's Siwa. He heads uphill. Is he still in second position? He should be. Yes, he is. He lapped a second quicker than Thomas Covington that time around. That gap, 11.2 seconds now between first and second place. Covington and Siwa. But with 13.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go, it's Thomas Covington who leads the way. 11.2 seconds clear here of the Suzuki Wild MX2 rider, Jeremy Siwa, number 91. Still very much in the hunt for the MX2 World Championship. Thomas Kjær-Olsen is third. Did he just come in for goggles just then? No, there he is at the end of the straight. He's in third. Jed Beaton is in fourth here, number 14 from Australia on that red Team HRC MX2 machine, the 2018 factory Honda CRF 250. Hunter Lawrence is fifth for Suzuki World MX2. Julian Lieber on the LRT KTM is sixth. Brian Bogus for HSF Logistics is seventh. Alvin Osland has gone from eighth because it's now Paul Jonass here on screen, the lead rider and shot for Red Bull KTM, who's got himself into the top 10. He is now in 8th. If he stays there, he will be crowned world champion at the end of this race. Paul Jonass looking to go after the smoking white HSF Logistics Motorsport KTM of Brian Bogus. He runs up the inside of the Dutchman, gets better drive on the entry through the waves, takes another position away. This is so far turning out to be a champion-elect performance in Moto number 1 here for Paul Jonass. He pulled the foxhole shot for the 10th time this year. He crashed at turn 2. He was right at the back. He took his time getting going. He made sure his hands were clean. And then he was ready to go. He fired up that KTM of his. He rejoined the race. He was right at the back. He is now over the line in 7th position. His teammate, though, Jorge Prado, not so fortunate. He is out of the points in 21st. He's in for goggle change and a glove change as well. The team just telling him to remain calm. There are still points on the board for Jorge Prado. He was 36 points behind Julian Lieber. He could have had a chance mathematically of taking 6 in the championship. But that now might look like an impossibility. Where is Julian Lieber? Julian Lieber is 6th in the race at the moment on his LRT KTM. Covington has taken Benoit Pacturel in the title race for 4th place. As we suspected he could do mathematically, 19 points he was behind Benoit Pacturel coming into this race, but the Khmer Yamaha rider not in the US, not in Assen, and not here due to that liver injury that he picked up training here a few weeks ago. And so he just sits back and watches his championship position fade away. He was 3rd at the time of that injury as well. Conrad Mewes on the outside there. The Rockstar Energy Husqvarna rider letting his more I would say experienced teammate. He is a European 250 champion last year, but Thomas Kjær-Olsen goes through in 3rd. Conrad Mewes is in 12th place. Still picking up vital championship points though. There is Jonass, bottom of the hill, still going strong. His lap time last time around was a 2:34.3. He won't care about that too much compared to the 2:26.9 of Jeremy Siwa, his main title rival. But with 10 minutes plus 2 laps to go, championship as it stands, In fact, we'll just get Jonass over the line before we work it out, because we do have a handful of guys over the line. Oh, Thomas Kjær Olsen, he makes a mistake. So Thomas Kjær Olsen, okay, just before the waves. There's a right turn there somewhere, but he's gone skidding off to the left. Has Jed Beaton gone through? I think Jed Beaton may have gone through in third place, because he was only a few seconds behind the Dane. That was over the other side of the circuit. So here's Thomas Covington up the hill towards the MONTBELIARD finish line jump. 2 minutes 23.7. 8 laps complete now for the American. The Rockstar Energy Husqvarna rider just picking his lines. He knows he's got time on his side. Here is Jeremy Seewer, Suzuki World MX2. 25 points would be nice, but 22 is where he's sat at the moment in that second place. 23 seconds behind Covington now. Thomas Kjær Olsen was in third, but I think Jed Beaton may have gone through after the fall from the Dane. That's Jorge Prado coming towards us. He has remounted. He is in 20th position. He did come in for goggles and glove. Quick pit stop a lap or so ago, so he can at least hang on to the handlebars. But it's still very difficult conditions for the young Spaniard. Having a fantastic rookie season, of course. Here's his teammate. Is he on the verge of being crowned MX2 world champion? Still 8 very, very long minutes, plus 2 laps to go, and they could be the longest 8 plus 2 of his career. Here's Covington, bottom of the hill. In fact, that's where Thomas Kjær Olsen fell. Beaton has gone through in third for Team HRC. 41 seconds down on the race leader here, Thomas Covington. Oh, he had to pick his line there. A momentary pause at the top of the hill. Here's Seewer, lead rider in shot. Doesn't fancy that line over to the left. It might look like it's the cleanest line, but might not be the safest line. Gets up and over the hill. He stays in second position. The title will go to Jonass if he stays where he is. He will have a 33-point advantage over Jeremy Seewer. If they put the flag out now, and if Seewer manages to keep it upright in second position, so that 33 points with 25 on the table will make it mathematically impossible for Seewer to win the title. Here is Jonass. He is in 7th place. A lap time 2:29, only 1 second slower than Seewer that time. Still lapping the fastest though by far is this guy here, number 64, Thomas Covington. Through the first turn, and he is on the verge of lapping Paul's Jonass, because he just went through a few moments ago. Great ride this from Thomas Covington. Here's Seewer. He's in second. Beaton third. Thomas Kjær Olsen 4. Hunter Lawrence 5. Julian Lieber 6. Jonass 7. Bogas 8. Belanger 9. And up to 10th now is Henry Jacobi. Henry Jacobi, 21st in the championship at the moment. In terms of his race finishes, where is he now? He's in 11th place. He has had an 8th place finish in race 1 in Germany at his home round, and that has been the best race of the season for him, so not quite on a par with that. 12th now is Alvin Osman for Khmer Yamaha, as we look at Jed Beaton in third. He's got about 11 seconds advantage over Thomas Kjær Olsen. What a ride for the Australian. Waved yellows at the top of the Monster Energy downhill. Cautionary yellows the other side of the step down here, as Jonass picks his line. Doesn't want to make any mistakes. Is that the 161 of Alvin Osman? It is. So Osman a lap down now to Jonass. He is in 12th place, Alvin Osman. So the young Swede on the Khmer Yamaha, Jonass heading uphill. The rain stays away for now. 5 minutes plus 2 laps to go. MX2 race 1, the final round of the FIM Motocross World Championship. The MXGP of Pays du Montbeliard here at Villars-sous-Écot. We had beautiful weather leading into this for a couple of days at least anyway, on Friday and Saturday. We've had intermittent rain, heavy showers ever since 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. A lot of rain last night, rain showers this morning. See water still laying on the racetrack. You can never, and that's Thomas Kjær-Olsen. Thomas Kjær-Olsen down at the bottom of the hill. Which hill? I think that is over the far side, the Monster Energy hill. Watch this. That's that inside rut, look, that looks good, but is treacherous. Ah, face plants a tough block there. The rider who has secured third in the MX2 World Championship. And he can't get that Husqvarna fired up. The electric start letting him down there. Here's Thomas Covington. He is about to lap the world champion-elect, number 41, Paul Jonass. Jonass will not care about that, but that will be a major scalp for Thomas Covington on that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. You see how he's quicker. He's jumping further on the hills. Man down at the top of the hill, that's Conrad Muse. So just one Rockstar Energy Husqvarna circulating at the moment then, with 3.5 minutes plus 2 laps to go, and it's the race leader, Thomas Covington from the United States of America. He has kept a very cool head. Jonass in 7th place. He has just been lapped there by Thomas Covington, the race leader, and he goes past and takes another position away from Thomas Kjær-Olsen as well. The title is looking good for KTM in MX2. Paul Jonass is on the verge of being crowned world champion, but there is still a lot of work to do. A long way to go. 3 minutes plus 2 laps, in fact, in MX2 race 1. Just under 3 minutes plus 2 laps to go. Thomas Covington has just lapped Paul Jonass, who will be crowned world champion if he can just finish the race now. Jeremy Seewer is in 2nd, 34 seconds behind your race leader, Covington. Jed Beaton of Australia is 3rd for Team HRC MX2 on the 2018 Honda CRF factory machine, in for the injured Michele Chervelin. 4th is Hunter Lawrence for Suzuki World MX2, and 5th was Thomas Kjær-Olsen, but it is now Julian Lieber for LRT KTM. 6th will be Paul Jonass, because we just saw him pass Thomas Kjær-Olsen at the bottom of the hill half a lap ago. There is Hunter Lawrence. He is in 4th place. It was the qualifying race winner yesterday. And it looks like Thomas Kjær-Olsen may have just got himself going. Ah, Bogus down from 9th. He is, well, he needs to quit smoking. Looks like Thomas Kjær-Olsen. Yeah, he got himself going and looking for a launch back up the hill. So where is Thomas Kjær-Olsen? He should be in 7th position. Time is running out, though, in this MX2 race. Seewer needs to finish ahead of Jonass. Jonass needs to finish lower than 12th if Seewer were to somehow win this race. And another problem for Thomas Kjær-Olsen. Will he try and bump start that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna? That's the 2nd of the Monster Energy downhills, the one that takes him into the left. And is that Jonass? No, it's Prado. So Prado picking himself up. That's at the bottom of the long downhill as well. He is in 17th place, or he was. And that looks like Ivan Monticelli on the hill there over to the right as well, the 128 on the Marchetti Racing Team KTM. His bike is pulled a 180. Conrad Muse trying to get going. He's got a lot of mud wrapped around the front forks on that Rockstar Energy Husqvarna. He's going to be here for about a week trying to get that thing cleaned up, or his mechanic is anyway. The 2-lap board will go out next time around for Thomas Covington here. Even though the sun is coming out, it is shining on Paul Jonass, who is in 6th position after taking a foxhole shot for the 10th time. He is now in 6th place after crashing at turn 2. Left himself with a lot of work to do, but he picked himself up, kept a cool head, rejoined the race. knew that bikes and bodies would be all over the place. He came around just inside the points at the end of the first lap. And here he is, he's a lap down to Thomas Covington. Darren Sanai just ahead of him, number 57, Monster Energy DRT, Kawasaki. He is in 16th place now. In fact, 14th place, because he's found his way past Conrad Muse and Ivan Monticelli, both riders parked on the hill. He will move aside to let Jonass through. He's had titles right the way through his amateur career, 85 European Worlds, 125 European Worlds. Oh, 33 Lieber, just keeping it upright through turn one as he hangs on to 5th place. Covington went through an eternity ago. We're still waiting for Jeremy Seewer. Here is Covington, getting ready to lap the 33 of Julian Lieber in 5th place. Here's Seewer, number 91. He hits the line, he takes the 2-lap board. 44 seconds down on Thomas Covington. That is the shortest route through from the final turn down to turn one. It is a proper mudfest here at Villars. One dry line starting to open up. It hasn't been fun for the MX2 guys, the MXGP guys. Well, they're going to have to roll their sleeves up and get stuck in a little later on for their first race of the afternoon. It's a shame, even though we've got a good crowd in here, the final round, well, it had to be in Mudder, didn't it? Talking to somebody the other day, it seems that almost every race we've come to this year, we've had rain at some point during the weekend. A fantastic ride for this fella here. From Australia, Jed Beaton, guesting for Team HRC MX2. Spoke to him briefly the other day. Looked like he may have had something secure for next year, but that deal fell through right at the last minute. He found out this weekend, so he's still open for offers. As he too laps, well, he's lapping Jorge Prado there. Prado in 17th place. Being told to keep it over to the left-hand side by the marshals, who are doing a fantastic job here. That was Conrad Muse parked there, wasn't it? At the top of the hill. He will still get 19th. If he, just trying to think who's behind him. Ravini, we saw him parked at the top of one of the hills. Doesn't look like he is circulating. No, he's not actually. But Jed Beaton getting through this one, no problems at all. Oh, Covington, the race leader is down. He throws away the goggles and the gloves, and that is just on the run towards the finish line area through the waves. But Seewer coming towards us here on the city jump now. So Covington just rides it out through the waves. Here's Seewer, so that 44-second gap probably halved. Major heart-in-the-mouth moment for Thomas Covington, and it has been a dramatic weekend here this week at Villars-sous-Écot. He will head uphill. He's got his goggles on. It looked like he was just taking the time to wipe his hands there on the handlebars with the rag that he had probably tucked away somewhere. But Covington almost immaculate here in race one. See, well, look at the drive that he's got. Well, that gap, the momentum is going to be with him. His focus is still there. It's still sharp. He can still win the first race here. But Jonass is in 6th. That will still be a world title winning position for the Red Bull KTM rider. That gap, 12.4. Wow, 3:08 for Covington, 2:36. A 30-second gap lost there for Covington. So Seewer heads into the final lap with a possibility of taking a race win here in Moto number 1. If he does that, he knows he couldn't have done any more. But it depends on Covington ahead of him, whether he can regroup and refocus. But then a mistake from Seewer. Testing times for the Suzuki rider. He gets up over the first plateau, man down. But here is Prado. Prado in 15th position. We are waiting for Julian Lieber to come over the line, and there is the 41 of Jonass. That's how far behind he is. but he is in 6th place. He will be crowned world champion. Here's Covington. He is still your race leader. He could do with letting Covington by, actually. So he doesn't have to do another lap. He will still be classified as 6th. The world title might come early for him. He will probably still be classified as 6th, even if he experiences a problem on the final lap because of how far into the race other riders have gone, because Covington is on lap 13, Jonass on lap 12. We have to go down to 9th place. Alvin Osland, who is 2 laps behind the leader at the moment. So that would still be a result worth counting for Jonass. Here is Thomas Covington. Oh, back end gets a little bit snake hips on him there. Here's Siwa. He's in 2nd. 1 or 2 shandies too many there for our man on the in the chair. But here's Thomas Covington. He should be working his way towards us. He is. Thomas Covington, Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing. He's just got one more final climb to negotiate, and Thomas Covington will win Moto #1 here in MX2 at Villars-sous-Écot. It was a hard slog. He wins for the 5th time this year. Jeremy Siwa over the line, 8.6 seconds behind Covington in the end. Here is Paul Jonass. He has still got some work to do. He is closing in on Julian Liebert for 5th place. He doesn't need to find his way past the Belgian. He has a full lap to do. Covington lapped him. He was unlapped when Covington went down. He got that lap back. He just needs to stay upright. He goes to the inside of Liebert. Oh, beautifully done. Had one thing on his mind there, make the pass. Is he going to get over the hill? Yes, he does. Jonass now in 5th. Just watching him ride out the final lap here, Paul Jonass. We will speak to Thomas Covington in a moment. Jed Beaton came over the line in 3rd, 20 seconds down on the leader eventually. So a fantastic ride and a fantastic result for Jed Beaton and Hunter Lawrence, 2 Australians, 3rd and 4th. They probably have a chance of winning the overall Grand Prix if they get a good result in Moto #2 later on this afternoon. But all eyes on this guy here, downhill for the final time. Paul Jonass is about to be crowned FIM MX2 Motocross World Champion for the first time. The first Latvian in history to do so. He's just got a couple more waves to negotiate. The Ippon tabletop. And Jonass here has this final turn. The Red Bull KTM heads uphill. Jonass is world champion. 2017 KTM at the top of the hill. They greet the Latvian. He gives it a big panic rev. Everybody rushes over towards him. He is world champion. It is finally over, and Paul Jonass is the new world champion. Everybody getting in there. There's Valentina Ragni, and I think that's Claudio De Carli, possibly just to the left there from the MXGP side. His mechanic in there as well. Just being completely drowned. There's some expensive equipment being ruined there in terms of camera equipment. But Jonass is world champion. Brian Deckert, his mechanic there, was one of the first to give him a congratulatory hug, of course. An Australian mechanic. He's been in Europe now for a while, but here's Lisa Leyland getting ready to speak to our new world champion. Big hug from Dad. It's been a long journey. It's been worth it.
Paul Jonass, congratulations. Your first MX2 World Championship title, when you really had to work for it in that first moto.
Yeah, you know, this was a tough one. You know, before the race I felt really good because I know that I can ride mud, but you know, got a really good start, but then made the mistake in the 2nd corner. You know, collapsed with one rider and went down. So, and crashed one more time on the first lap. So it was really tough, you know, but I knew that it was a mud race, so I had to stay calm, and we did it. I want to thank everyone who supported me, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing Team, I'm just so happy. Thanks to everyone, and now we need to get ready for the second moto.
You did it! Congratulations!
Congratulations, Paul Jonass and Red Bull KTM. He is victorious, finally, at the final round here. He led the first round. He won in Qatar, in Patagonia, at Valkenswaard, back-to-back wins at Ernée in France and Russia. He was victorious for the last time in Czech Republic in Lockett, but he's been on the podium all but one time since then. That was 7th overall in the US. But Paul Jonass, the Latvian, is the new world champion in MX2. The celebrations continue to go on over there, just on the start straight. The journalists, the photographers, all trying to get their images of the new champ. An emotional day for mother and father. Here's how it went down in MX2, race 1. The gate dropped. Everybody from the outside made the fantastic jump as they swept through turn 1. Jed Beaton was up there on the inside. Look, his gamble paid off. Jonass grabbed the foxhole shot for a 10th time. He hit that bank a little bit harder than he wanted to, but then at the end of the straight, watch this, he made the mistake. He bounced off of Jed Beaton and went down. He decided to change his line at the last minute, not go over the hole, over the hump there. Meanwhile, his rival, Puchis, he fell coming out of turn 2. Seaworth was in 3rd and quickly in the 2nd. With Jed Beaton in 3rd, he lost only 1 position to Thomas Kjær-Olsen, who eventually went through in 4th. Bogus went down at the top of the hill. Seaworth got himself in the 2nd. Only just. Him and Beaton were banging bars. Prado was having all kinds of dramas out there in the race. Thomas Covington was a mile out in front though, but Paul Jonass picked his way through. He found his way past Brian Bogus. That was for a top 10 finish. And then over on the far side of the circuit, Thomas Kjær-Olsen fell from 3rd. He would fall again on one of the downhills. Just here, he was down for a couple of laps. He did get up, he did pick up points. But 3rd place was in the bag then for Jed Beaton. Thomas Covington lapped Paul Jonass, but not for long, because Covington also made a mistake. He used his napkin there just to wipe those grips. He took his time. He had a 44-second advantage at that point. That was him going away in the opposite direction. Seaworth was here on the other side of the city jump in 2nd. But when the flag went out, it was a narrow victory, about 8 seconds in the end for Thomas Covington. His 5th race win of the year on the Rockstar Energy Aspana. Seaworth was 2nd, Jed Beaton was 3rd. But it was all about Paul Jonass. Thomas Covington's race went overshadowed by the historic occasion of number 41 and the Red Bull KTM with Paul Jonass coming over to the line to take his and Latvia's first MX2 world title. Jubilant scenes down there, everybody wearing the Polski shirts. Tony Cairoli, of course, crown champion last week at Assen in the Netherlands. Let his teammate get on with the celebrations there. Cairoli just, come on, man, you just got my shirt dirty. It'll wash out, TC, don't worry. But congratulations to everybody over there at Red Bull KTM and Paul Jonass, of course. Just trying to think if we've had the official confirmation of race 1 or not. Anyway, here is the official confirmation. Thomas Covington, your winner. Jeremy Seaworth 2nd. Jed Beaton and Hunter Lawrence, 2 Aussies there, 3rd and 4th. Jonass, your new world champion, came home 5th. Lieber 6th, Olsen and Watson. Right, so the foxhole shot. Paul Jonass for a 10th time.
La trajectoire idéale, enfin, en tout cas,
Right, we'll be back in just a few seconds with MXGP Race 1.
Ouais, exactement, c'est ce que sont venus constater certains pilotes.